Hello, beautiful Mystery School initiates once again. We are on to the second transmission. And in this transmission, we're talking about designing your future. So as promised, I'm going to talk a little bit about psychic ethics. More specifically, I'm going to talk about why I don't believe in fortune telling. As a practitioner of the intuitive arts, as a professional psychic, and what I mean by this is I use my psychic abilities in my coaching with women. This is the backbone of my mentorship practice and has been ever since I started it. As someone who relies on her channel for the creation of the greatest works that I'm known for, I don't believe in such a thing as fortune telling. So I believe that you have the ability to design your own future. Now, it's a process of co-creation, more so than it is just, put a finger in the sky and, what you say is going to become what you want it to become right away. So there's a process to this, yes, and there is some factors, some lessons, some things that are associated with your path here on Earth that are meant to happen for your own awakening, for your own learning. They call it the Earth School, for the becoming of what your soul desired to experience here when you took on human form. So these things, they're in play, okay? But you have a great deal of power when it comes to your future. And we're going to talk about this. I want to start this transmission by focusing on a gift that some have. I'm looking for my coffee here. The gift of precognition. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with precognition. I'm going to talk about how this gift of seeing the future before it happens, how it's very different from fortune telling or believing that your future is somehow written in the stars, that things are predestined, that someone else can know your future, that, you can just find out and relax because it's all going to happen the way that someone else said it will. So, precognition is a gift of seeing events before they occur, but there is a little bit of a prescription there, a little bit of a condition to this gift. Usually, the way that I've experienced it, the way it occurs, the things that you see that are about to happen, there isn't anything you can do about it. Yeah, it cannot be stopped. It cannot be changed. And so what happens is through precognition, it's possible to tap into an awareness of events before they take place. So it's a sort of a warning. And it's an ability that some have to tap into what is agreed upon by not just the people involved, but by the souls at large. What has been decided, what has technically already happened, except it is still playing out. So this is precognition. I'm going to tell you about some experiences with precognition. Trigger warning. These are a little tough. Okay, so this is a gift that I've probably struggled the most with, because to me at times it seems like it's useless. In essence, precognition is, about things that have technically already happened, except they're happening. Time is a little different. Time is still being applied, but the fact already is. So we're going to talk about precognition just to highlight the difference, okay? And then we're going to talk about your future, which is something that's completely different, something that no one can know, okay? Something that you have a large play in. Your will, your willingness. And we're also going to talk about how it's possible not to live up or live out your fullest potential. It's possible to refuse to live what is available, what is destined for you in the highest sense of the word. Like your highest timeline, it's possible not to live it out. And we're going to talk about why. Okay, so let's start with precognition. So this is probably a more rare gift, and not to make it sound like it's coveted, because it's tough. And I don't think that, that it's useful in itself. However, it is, I've met people who have it, and I myself have it. So if you resonate, then I hope this serves as a confirmation that you're not alone. And if you don't resonate, we are talking about this to highlight the contrast. This is where I want you to feel the difference. Here's this thing and here's this thing, and they're completely different. Okay, so I'm gonna dive in. Precognition is something that has occurred to me several times in my life. All of the times were bad, like ranging from tragic to bad, but not good. Not good, okay? So trigger warning once again. This is what we're starting with, okay? But you can handle it. It's not something terrible. It's just something that might hit you in your feels. The most striking example of precognition that that pretty much defined me in a lot of ways was when someone I loved very dearly died. And I saw it before it happened. And I warned the person that I saw it before it happened. And it happened still. This was a really tragic moment for me, because I was still going through the dark night of the soul that we talked about in the previous transmission. In fact, my dark soul night of the soul was just basically starting. It was ongoing, but it was like early stages. So I was taking some steps to reach for my gifts. I was taking the very first baby steps to start kind of integrating my gifts, realizing who I really am, remembering who I am. And I didn't practice cards at the time, but I had a set of runes that I inherited from my grandmother, who passed away quite some, like just a few years before this event happened. And so, but this was just, it was just kind of giving me some messages. I was just trying to understand them. But then I have this dream, and the person I was dating at the time, someone I loved very, very much, the love of my life, he was an addict. And so he had a overdose during our relationship prior to this tragic event. And so this was the path he was on, and I was aware of it. He was, trying to fight it, but it was kind of still, it had an upper hand over him. And we were supposed to meet that weekend, and I got sick. I was like having some kind of a flu or something, and I was sleeping that night, like having a fever sleeping type of thing, and I had this very profound vision. I saw him dying. And when I say vision, it feels very different from a dream. I've had a handful of those, but not something that happens very often. In fact, something that is very rare. But it was one of the visions, and I don't know how I knew this, because like I said, I wasn't really at the level of mastery with my gifts, and so it was just so, it shocked me, and it was so real that I called my boyfriend and I said, hey, you know, please be careful tonight. Like, please just don't do anything, because I had this vision and I think you're gonna die tonight. So like, I don't know how to stop it, but it's like, just don't do something that would create that outcome. And I even said like, hey, you know, maybe I should, you know, come over. And he was like, I'm in South Carolina, United States. He's in Georgia. He was like 5 hours away maybe. So he said, no, it's like late. You're sick. Don't, you know, we're gonna see each other this weekend, and I'm fine. Nothing's gonna happen to me. Like, don't worry about it. It's just a dream, babe. Don't worry about it. And I just had a terrible feeling. So I had to do something. I got up and I drove all the way. I was in a different city, so I drove all the way to where my parents lived, which was about like 2 hours. I just couldn't sleep, and I was just like, I had a feeling like something bad's gonna happen. I think the dream is gonna come true. But then, you know, I saw my old friend, and we hung out and we talked for a little bit, and I was like, you know, it's all gonna be fine. And I went to bed, and the next morning I woke up, and my boyfriend's sister called me and said that he was found dead that morning. I couldn't reach him, and then I got a call from her, and she told me he passed away last night. And I saw that happen, and I told him. So to say it was traumatizing is not to say much, because it was beyond, you know. Of course, you can imagine, I blamed myself, because I was like, I should have stopped it, I should have done something. But the reality was, you know, I let him know. So can this be stopped? Maybe not. In my experience, every time precognition has occurred, it's like the contract has already been signed. The soul agreement has already been made. The event that you see before it happens, it has happened, because it's agreed upon to such a degree that the time, it's outside of time. The time will play out, but there is no changing it, because it has been decided, and the souls that are involved have agreed upon it. There was another event of precognition, which is gonna get, this is a little bit of adult content, but I was dating someone. We had an open relationship. This is later. And it wasn't really a very emotional relationship. It was a different nature of a relationship. It was open. It was more centered around exploring things. And there were some people involved in addition to me and the partner that I'm speaking of. But we had this agreement that we decide on things, explorations and experiences that we want to, as adults, consensually experience together. We decide on this with honesty. We decide on this, you know, as adults do. Like, we have an open relationship. Why not be honest with each other, right? Well, I had another vision dream where in the middle of the night, I wake up and I'm seeing my partner meet up with some other people. And meanwhile, I was like, had a broken leg, had to move out of my apartment, had to move back with my parents. So like, I'm kind of incapacitated. And behind my back, he's, about to meet with some people we've shared experiences with before, by himself, not telling me, and it's happening right now. Like, it's about to happen. And so I was just like, you know what? I don't even have space for that. So the next morning, I reach out to him and I'm like, hey, I had a vision. that you met with so-and-so and you had these experiences and you didn't even bother like letting me know or asking if I would be okay with that, considering we have somewhat of a relationship together. And he said, did one of them tell you? I said, no, they don't need to. Like, I have the gift. So I don't need to be told. Like, I saw it. I saw the play-by-play of what's about to happen. So spare me the details. I'm sure that's exactly what happened. And he said, well, unfortunately, yes. Okay. There was a third instance of this precognition, and yes, a lot of times for me it has to do with relationships. It's almost like I'm being made aware of something that's gonna happen, that's gonna hurt me. So it's like prepare. Nothing beats the first instance, by the way, in terms of the impact. But, it was hard at times not to blame the gift, because this is pretty out there. So the third instance, I was married and I had this dream month before this happened. I had this dream of my husband cheating on me and systematically preparing for this, planning something. And then he does it, and then it's like I'm moving out. And I had this vision, and I talked to him, and I was crying, and he's like, babe, it's just a dream, don't worry about it. No, but things were pretty bad. But he's like, I would never do that. I would never cheat. I've been cheated on. It's a terrible feeling. I'm like, okay. But it was a vision, and I know how these go at this point. So I'm like, okay. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I better start preparing for being heartbroken here, because I think he's already starting to plan this. It's not happening, but in the back of his mind, it's becoming more and more of a consideration. And you guessed it. A couple months later, I did one of my live streams, I think, or I had a coaching call, something along these lines, and my spirit just moves me, and so I'm guided. I'm wearing I was guided to do a little bit of yoga in the living room, which I never do. Well, I never did in the apartment that we lived in. I changed my clothes. I was pretty much dressed for this live stream, and then I changed my clothes, got into my yoga pants, and I'm doing yoga in the living room, and I didn't do that in our apartment with my husband. So I'm doing the yoga, and he's on the balcony talking to his friend, and I'm I did the yoga, and I was sitting down about to turn on TV. And all of a sudden, I'm not trying to listen. I'm on my phone, I'm responding to comments, turning on the TV, and I hear him telling his friend about how our relationship is not gonna work out, and eventually I will accept it and probably move out. That's all he said. That's all I heard. And I'm like, So it's already terrible between us. So I'm like, okay. And so he comes back from the call, and I said, hey, I wasn't trying to eavesdrop or anything, but I heard you say, that, you don't think it's going to work out. And then, I'd have, eventually I'll realize it and move out. And he says, oh my gosh, you heard. And I said, yeah, I guess I did. He said, so I cheated. And I said, what? That's not the part that I heard. He said, oh, well, now you know. And, it was a couple months after that dream, but it was when I was having that dream, in the back of his mind, he already considered that. And that's exactly what I saw. Systematically, he built up to making that move. And so once again, precognition has shown me what I really did not want to see. But it's a warning. Precognition is something that happens to the one who has it. I think it's, we're not talking about Nostradamus or, people who do these world predictions. We're not going to talk about this, because there are certain things that I feel that seers can tap into, certain pivotal turns for humanity that perhaps can be seen and can be spoken of as a warning as well. It's not that it can be necessarily averted. It's something prepare. So I don't discredit it, but we're not focusing on this. So we're focusing on individual precognition because I have authority on this because I have it. And the way that it works 100% is that it's not a prediction, okay? It's not like this will happen and then this will, like, it's not a postulate. It's not like something that can be changed. It's a soul agreement that other people make, that they have agreed upon whatever is going to happen on the level of their soul, okay? And I'm being shown, like, look what they have agreed upon. So that level of an agreement, once it's made, it's going to play out. It's like a soul contract. And I'm being shown, like, this is the agreement they made. Perhaps you should know about it. Okay? How does this work? The soul agreement. I've had experiences of this, not with precognition, but like personally. And this involves my work with ayahuasca. So whenever I commit to attending an ayahuasca ceremony, and I make an agreement, like I pay for my trip, I decided I'm booking the rooms, like I'm going, I know I'm going. The medicine, the effects of working with ayahuasca start taking place. And this is the soul agreement, okay? So a soul agreement is something that once it's truly made, you can't change it. You can be made aware of it, like another person made it, if it's relevant to you. Through this gift of precognition, you can be warned, okay? But it's not something that you can go and change. You can't stop it. You can't unmake the soul agreement that another person has made, okay? You can make your own soul agreement and the effects of it can start taking place. But this is precognition. This is seeing certain events that are agreed upon that may as well have happened already, except there is a factor of time, and so they play out in time. But this isn't fortune telling. This has nothing to do with predicting someone's future. And future, I believe, cannot be predicted. And if it can be, it's very dangerous, okay? Because there is a principle of you get what you pay for. It's true. You can walk into a fortune teller's office and say, predict my future for me. You get what you pay for. So when you give your power away to another person and you say, here's my money, predict my future, whatever they tell you, whether they have the gift or not, whether they're actually picking up on something or not, you have subconsciously made a soul agreement to accept that. It is extremely dangerous. This is why a large topic that runs through the veins of the mystery school of today's experience here is choose no guru, enter no cult, don't put anyone on the pedestal, and don't give others your power. Stop giving your power away. You ask a fortune teller for your fortune and you pay for it, you get what you pay for. Even if they tell you something and you're like, no, I don't want this to be true. On subconscious level, you have just exposed yourself to being told your future. It is extremely dangerous. Not only do I not practice this, but I believe it is a terrible practice. And this is dangerous. In fact, not only as a practice, but especially as a customer, that's like, don't do that. Okay? This is just my advice. Okay, so no one can predict your future, but if you pay for it, you get what you pay for. So if you want to give your power away and you go to someone and you say, hey, can you tell my future for me because I don't want to really take active play in designing it myself, you expose yourself to all kinds of projections. And there is an energetic exchange. So you pay for it. You have just entered an agreement. So please be mindful, be careful. Don't go out seeking fortune tellings. This is dangerous game. So enough of this, but I can't say enough about this because this is just, to me, it's like, it's a very dangerous thing. You can really mess yourself up through this. You can give your power away, and then it's like, to regain it is difficult. Okay, so let's focus on what this transmission is about. We've talked about precognition. We've talked about fortune telling. I believe psychic ethics. I believe fortune telling is unethical. I think it should not exist as a practice. Precognition, seeing some events, seeing something about humanity or people or something that relates to you, you can't help it. When you have that gift, it happens, okay? And you can't change it. It's something that you see that has been agreed upon by other people or by the collective, whatever it is. It's not about predicting, it's about seeing. It's seership, it's different. Fortune telling is a dangerous game because whether you're projecting something on the person who says, take my money, tell me my fortune, it's a karmic responsibility that you're taking on without payment because you've been given carte blanche and you're saying, yeah, sure, I can predict your future for you. This is major boundary violation, spiritually speaking. There is payment for that, and it's way more significant than money. And if you pay for that and you want a fortune, you've just given your power away. And yeah. So these two things, let's set them aside. Let's talk about like who then designs your future. Well, there are some things, some soul contracts that your soul has made coming into this reality. This body, this path, your family, your bloodline, your ancestors, human ancestors, where you were born, collective karma of the country you were born in, people around you, society, segments of population, patterns in your family history. You have agreed to all of that. And there are some things that it's like, yeah, I don't identify with it, but the pattern runs deep. And so it takes a lot of conscious effort to get yourself out of certain soul agreements that you don't resonate with, that you are meant to break or heal or release on behalf of your ancestors, on behalf of your family line, on behalf of the collective, on behalf of your culture even, okay? So this is complex. Your soul comes in with a bunch of agreements that either you're going to live out or you are meant to break. You're meant to release yourself from. This is tremendous work. Okay, so this is a fact. Your soul has made soul agreements, soul contracts. They are shaping who you are. They're usually unconscious until you start digging in and realizing like, oh wow, when did I make a vow of poverty because it's playing out in my life and I can really feel like this is something I'm held in. So how do I release myself from it? When did I make a vow of chastity? When did I make a vow of, having like a strong disliking of certain people or certain patterns? Like, where is this coming from? A lot of these soul agreements, some of them are meant to serve you and be lived out. Some of them are meant to be broken so you can release not just yourself, but your family line, your bloodline, your ancestors. Some of this is ancestral work. This is a whole topic. We're not really going into that, okay? We're focusing on designing your future. So soul agreements are there. A lot of things that shaped you. Things you were taught, things that you just are. There's some things that about my grandmother, my Russian grandmother, who's alive and well, and I love her very much. But growing up, I looked at her and I was like, I would never, ever in my life, ever am I ever gonna be like her. I just, no. And guess what, you guys? I am just like her. But it's like, this is part of it. It's like, okay, recognizing this, and it's like, okay, I honor the lineage here, but also knowing that I'm wired to be like this. What is my sovereign choice in regards to this agreement? Is this serving me, or is there a different choice available? Soul agreements, bloodline agreements. Okay, this is part of this kind of like a background to who you become. Nature versus nurture. Okay, your nature is what you're shaped as. Your soul agreements, everything you agreed upon. This is unconscious. You just are the way you are. Boom, you're molded into who you have become. And then we have nurture, which is like, who do you choose to be? Who you've been, who do you choose to become? Who you've been before, who you've been your whole life, and then who are you becoming? Okay, so who are you becoming? The power that you have to break soul agreements, to release yourself from soul agreements, to serve out karma, to finish karma, to clear karma. You have that power. It's not easy. It's not like, oh, poof, done. It's like, this is will. That's the key. Your willpower. Your ability to look at what your ancestors have been doing, what your family has been doing. Let's say, everyone's like, oh, we're proud and we're poor. We're poor and we're proud. And we're just very proud that we're poor and rich people suck. And you're like, I don't want to live like that. And you take all these steps and you learn about, money, and you learn about, you expand your mind. You're like, there's this available and this available, and let me work with this person. And so you study and you learn, you expose yourself to different ways of being. And you're like making steps, and then yet again, this comes up, and it's like, I'm just not good with money. You catch yourself, you're like, stop it. That's not me. But it's the voice of your ancestors in the background. It takes work to break soul agreements. It takes work to reshape and nurture yourself to become who you really want to be. It takes conscious work to design your future. But the good news is, you can. They say that if being successful was easy, then everyone would be successful. There's some truth to that. But it's not really about just success. It's about willing yourself into existence versus drifting down the river of life. You can live life on life's terms. Or you can set your own terms and see life accept those terms. Which one do you think takes more willpower? Willpower is the most powerful thing that we have. Our willpower can truly move mountains. But everything in our society, everything in most of the cultures of the world today, it teaches you not to use it. In fact, everything you hear is like, just accept it. Just follow along the lines. Just, pick a side. Here's A, here's B. Blue pill, red pill, left, right, black, white, bad or good. Just pick one. The will is the ability to say, no, I'm not going to pick one. Because I'm not even going to look at these options. Because I don't choose from options that are given to me by someone else. I design my own destiny. Very few people dare to even consider this. And a lot of people would and could and can. All of us can. All of us have this power. But it never even presents itself because you're so used to living in the black or white, left or right. Is this good or bad? Bad? Good. Good? Bad. That's a very, very, very low level of consciousness concept, by the way, good or bad. It's like a child's play. This is like, this is good, this is bad. This is pretty, this is ugly. Like, this is the duality, the thinking of this or the other. Do I like it? Do I not like it? It's very, very, very low level thinking. What is the nature? What is the capacity? What is the potential? Let's say, for example, I tell you, hey, you can be an employee or you can be a business owner. Which one would you like? The moment you start thinking like, oh, I would like to, that's it. That's okay. That's it. You're choosing from the options I just gave you. No. No. The well-informed answer is, I'm here to live out my fullest potential, right? Like, I am here to create my own path. I'm not going to choose between employee or starting a bit. Like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to bring my vision into life. It's like the choices fall aside. It's like, okay, that's no longer relevant. Okay, women holding their power and their intuitive gifts. Is this good or bad? No. No, I'm not playing that game. Good. What do you, according to whom? Like, once you start engaging with this good or bad, left or right, like the multiple choice scenario presented to you, you have to reject it. This is where it starts. It's like, no. Who are you going to be when you grow up? A ballerina or an astronaut? No. I'm going to become myself, the fullest expression of it. It's like, well, what does that even mean? Most people, they don't comprehend this answer. And again, it's not their fault. We have this capacity, but it's just not taught. Willpower is not taught. It's not cultivated. In fact, it's the opposite. It's suppressed. When you go to school, what are you taught? And this is, I mean, I've spent a little less than half of my life at this point in Russia and the other half in the United States. Schools attended in both countries, different ideologies, same thing. What do you learn in school? You learn how to be obedient. That's all you learn. Yes, there's some morsels of knowledge and you can probably do some math as a result, maybe write without, punctuation mistakes. But what are you really taught? You're taught how to be obedient. And the more you excel in school, the more you know how to play by the rules of the system, whatever system it is. Russia, America, same thing. 2 different countries, same thing. Same everywhere. You're not taught how to use your willpower. You're taught how to follow along. And if you stand out, if you drop out, if you say, no, I don't want your multiple choice. I don't want to study. This is crap. This is boring. This is not interesting. This is not what I want to do. This is not who I am. I don't want to be here. There's stigma. There's punishment. But you know what? Here's the good news though, for us. Unfortunately not for young children, but for us, is that we're grown-ups. We don't need to be in school anymore. So you have to kind of unschool yourself. You have to stop. This is really the only thing. This is a perfect start because it builds on itself from there. You have to stop considering multiple choices. When you're presented with a multiple choice scenario, even if it's by life itself, it's like, why? Why these two? Who said it's these two? Who said it's these 5? Like, who said it? I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna come up with my own. Like, I'm not even considering this. I'm not even choosing from this. So how do you design your future? Is you have to stop choosing from options that are presented to you for what your future is going to be like. And you have to stop believing that someone can predict your future, that it's even a possibility, because you have the power to co-create it. Co-created with what? With your soul. Your soul has made certain agreements. Certain agreements are in place. Some of them you can break free from. Some of them are really here to serve you. So it's like they're inevitable because your soul craves this learning. It has come here to do this learning. So some things you can't weasel your way around a learning because you're just gonna have to, and that's okay. But this is a fraction of your life's path. It's like 10% is the soul agreements, and like the rest 90 is up to you. You can shift between timelines, it can happen very fast. And I'm telling you, this is really, really true. There is a you that is still in that relationship that you left. There is a me that is in that relationship that I left. There is a me that is still working a corporate job. There is a me that never left Russia. There is a me that stayed in church. There is a me that's still trying to please people and be normal. There's a me that still drinks to give an outlet to the gifts that she keeps suppressing, okay? This is all still, all of these are timelines I was on, and I shifted out of them, but guess what? They're still there. Like, there is still a version of me that's living them out in perpetuity, because it's like that, they just exist. There are other versions of me that I have not even seen the glimpse of, and yet they already exist. There is a me that's like holding political office. There is a me that has already published 10 books. There is a me that's traveling the world and visiting ancient sites. I can go on. There are different aspects of me that I've given a little bit of thought about. They're true, they're real, because if you can imagine something, then it exists. And so you can shift between timelines. This is not the only timeline that's available to you. The one you're in right now, it's not the only one. And you've been on other ones that you're no longer on. They still exist. But you're not on them anymore. But they do be. No other way of saying it. They are. But you're not living them anymore. This you, sovereign you, is not living them anymore. But they are living themselves, because they are. Okay, so you can shift timelines. And because of this ability to be like, okay, I was an alcoholic, now I'm not. There is a part of me that still is. I was in a toxic relationship, I left it. There's a part that's still in that relationship. I was, living over there, and then I left. There's a part of you that's still living over there, Okay, and also, it's like there's a part of me that's doing this thing, and I'm still like, whoa, could that ever be me? And she's already doing that. Like, she already exists, okay? So you can shift between timelines. You're encouraged to constantly calibrate your optimal timeline. But no one's going to make you, and no one's going to tell you to, and no one's going to give you a multiple choice that will bring you there. You have to will it. Okay? So because of this, because of how much will plays a part in who we become, and how much the lack of will, the lack of even knowing that you have it, the lack of practice and application of it, the lack of focus of it, how much that plays an effect. The drifter, the one who just floats down the river of life on life's terms. Whatever happens to me, I'm the victim. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anything. But this is an option. Because of that option, It is possible that you will not live out your highest potential. And if you're like, Katerina, I don't really like hearing that. Well, too bad, because you need to hear that. This is like maybe the greatest service that I can do for you is for you to hear that from me, because I'm saying this lovingly. But there is a chance that you will not live out your highest potential. And you know what? I've seen a lot of paths that people take that they're like, holy smokes, you're brilliant, you're beautiful, you're genius. You're like everything. And the person just doesn't see it, doesn't will it, doesn't choose it, and they drift. I'm sure you've seen that as well. I don't want you to drift. You are so powerful. You get to design your future. But if you're designing your future, you're not taking life on life's terms. You're saying, life, here are my terms. And I'm gonna watch you bend to my will, and you will bend. There is no other way. You have God essence in you. I stand with the dark feminine, the dark goddesses, the feminine divinity that defied any kind of place it was allotted. Lilith, who said, I shall not lie underneath a man. Yes, obviously there is some connotation there that, you know, you can guess what it is. But this isn't just that. It's I will not subdue. I will not be subdued. A lot of dark goddesses are in that role. That's why they're scary. That's why it's like, oh, evil, look away. Woman in her power saying she's not going to be subdued. Gosh, horrible. But the reality is, this is will. People will not like it. They're like, I'm using multiple choice here, and you're saying you're gonna do like what? Like that doesn't even apply to you. Like you don't even choose from that. Like, well, what do you mean? A lot of people, they haven't been taught. They don't even know they have this will. And so all of a sudden you start using your will, and you know, they say, well, I was born poor, and my parents said they're poor, and my grandparents said they're poor, and everyone's poor, and as long as I've known our family line, they're all poor, and I'm poor, and I grew up poor, and I'll always be poor. And you come from the same background as I do, so you probably will always also be poor. And you say, no, I'm gonna be extremely rich. And the other person goes like, no, you're not. Like, what makes you special? It's not that something makes you special. It's that you have the willpower to set terms and watch life fall into them. But it takes resolve, you guys. I'm going to use like a very simple example here. Like super, super simple. Okay? Just base level. I decided, I've been talking about starting an email list for like 4 years. This is how you've been contacted regarding the schedule of this masterclass, regarding my readings so far, and so on and so forth. Perhaps even watching the recording of this transmission through an email with links. Okay, so I've been talking about this for years. Never tried it, gathered some email, never did anything with it, never did it the right way. All of a sudden I'm like, it is time. I started an email list. First email I sent from the wrong name. I'm like, oh God, like I've been waiting for 4 years, and now I started, and I want it to be perfect, and I want it to be right. Like, why does this happen? Okay, first trial, will, you know, out of the window. What are you gonna do? Just be like, okay, I quit. I'm not doing email anymore. It sucks. I suck. I can't do it. Every turn of the road, you're gonna have incentive to quit and go back to multiple choice scenarios. Another example, setting up this mystery school. You know, I'm good at this. This is what I'm meant for. This is my purpose. I know this because of the way it feels to do this, of the way that it feels for you to be on the receiving end of this. I can feel it. I can feel how valuable this is for you. And I can feel that I'm meant for this because I'm good at this, because I know it in my soul. This is what I'm here for. But then how do I bring this experience to you? How do I get you here? Like, how do I create an opportunity for you to easily teleport yourself to this group and then just be here and enjoy this? I have to do the tech. I mean, I could hire someone, but I can't. Not because I can't, but because that's not the way that it is right now. And I can't wait. It has to be now. This has to happen on Lionsgate 888, and so I have to do it myself. So what do? I set up with the email and everything. I had a plan, and I get everyone into this group, and then I realized that the way that I set up my little web page, it wasn't collecting any emails, even though there was a form for it, and I did the wrong button and whatever. And again, it's just like the punch in the gut. That's what it feels like when your will is being tested, because it's your solar plexus chakra. It's just like being punched, stomach pit, like, oh, damn it. Like, I had it. How did I not do this little button? And it's like, don't give it any power. Your will is being tested. And so I'm like, what do I need emails for? To begin with, actually. Wait a second. I need them to make your experience better. I want to give you access to the recordings. Like, this is for your convenience. So, like, okay, it happened. So what? I know everyone who is here is resolved to be here, committed to this experience. You know this is for you. So what am I afraid of? My ego? I don't want to seem like I don't know my tech. I don't know my tech. And guess what? I'm learning it because I'm doing it in service of my gift, which is this. So I'm going to get you here if you want to be here. And I'm going to get you the things that I want to get you so that you can have a full experience. So what do? I say, hey, you guys, I messed up. You know, can you please submit again? Everyone submitted again. Okay. What if I gave up and said, you know what, screw this, not gonna do the mystery school, not meant to be, not meant for me, multiple choice scenarios, please. I would like it easier, please. I don't wanna suffer on my ego level. So yet another one, this is the last one I'm gonna bring up. I start distributing readings. I distribute the first couple readings to people that did not sign up for the mystery school. And I'm like, this is insulting at this point. I mean, like, what? Now I have the actual participants and their contact. And what do? I start conducting readings for people who don't even, like, are not even interested in being here. And again, gut punch, stomach pit, what is wrong with me? This is not meant to be, blah, blah. Stop it. What if it is meant to be? What if the first few people that I conducted readings for, without realizing what I'm doing, what if they're actually meant to be here? What if that actually is meant to be? Okay, so I reach out to the people I accidentally conducted readings for. They join this experience, and they're having a blast. Your will get tested at every turn of your application. Everything in this life says, play life on life's terms. And when you say no life, you play on my terms. Guess what life does? Okay, you think I'm gonna play on your terms? Alrighty then. Let's see how strong that will is, baby. Show me. You really think you can command the forces of nature? You think you have connected to the God essence within you enough to where you trust it even when everything seems to be falling apart? All right, let's see it. Let's see it. So, will is connected to the same trust of the spirit that we talked about in transmission number 1. Activate your channel. That's why you should cultivate it. Because this thing, that channel, that spirit, that trust, at every turn that I just brought as a very simple example, my ego was like, not meant for me, blah, blah, give me the multiple choice. I don't, this is my cup of coffee just fell over. Maybe I'm not meant to do this transmission. And then it's like, okay, shut up. Alrighty. I'm not, no, we're not doing multiple choice. This is a different path. So just, shh. Spirit, what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is get up, do better. Get up, fix it. Get up, do something different. Get up and ask them. Get up and think about it in a different way. Maybe it is meant to be. Maybe it's all right. Maybe it's okay. Maybe you're learning something from this. And this is like baby steps. But the spirit has the answer. But if you don't have the trust in your spirit, you go to the ego, and ego is like, it's never been meant for me. First time you feel it's like, I'm not meant to be on the live stream. I don't know, I'm not meant to be rich. I'm not meant to be successful. Because there's no, the will. It's just, ego is like, I thought I'd try it and I'd be successful from the first try. And I'm not. Help. But your will has infinite power. And so designing your future, if you desire to design your future instead of living your life on life's terms, if you desire to set terms for your life, it requires your will, and it requires the trust in your spirit. Okay, so how do you cultivate it? For me, over the past 10 years, it's been journaling. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I've completed 33, this is 34th, 33 Moleskine journals in the past 10 years. You can't just sit down and do it in a couple days. This is substance, essence, realizations. I don't just gratitude journal. I don't just write, today I'm so grateful for blah, blah, blah. That too, of course. I rage journal. I journal all kinds of things. I talk about my just crazy life experiences, the most embarrassing things, the most wild things, the most insane ideas. Everything from my personal life to my business life to my goal, everything. And this is where I cultivate my will. This is also where I channel, yes, conveniently, but this is where I cultivate my will. This is where on life's terms is bringing me, and this is where I face life and I say, this is okay, getting a little interruption. This is what I'm dealing with. And this is what I'm going to do about it. This is what I got. This is what I'm creating. This is the evidence that I've received. And here's how I'm going to ignore it, because my vision is different. Journaling is an art. It's not just because of the aesthetics. No, that's completely irrelevant, actually. I've had the most crazy looking entries that were the most powerful. I don't even reread my journals, to be honest with you. But it's a powerful tool. There are ways that you can use the conscious power of your words to program yourself. And I'm not talking about some kind of zombie apocalypse scenario. I'm talking about like channel your will. And I have a lot to teach on this, you guys. It's funny because it's like, this is so powerful. And there's a lot in modern self-development work where I see a lot of times it's like, yeah, journaling is like very much a priority, but it's like, yeah, it's for personal development. Like, it's just, okay, that's great. It's awesome. But this is a tool. It's not just personal development. This is where you design your future. There are ways to journal that you will see your will manifest. And it will read like a book, except you're living it in your real life. I want to invite you on a 3-month-long journey with me, the journey of journaling. For 3 months, I will hold space for you and hold you accountable to learning techniques that go beyond documenting your life, far beyond, personal development, beyond making lists and checking things off. This is esoteric. This is beyond even manifesting. This is next level destiny co-creation. This is magic, like magic in its most profound sense. The old magic, the kind of magic that we all are capable for secretly, but very few people even realize they are. This is alchemy. This is high magic, okay? But it's through your hand. It's through your words, and it's through your will. Journey of Journaling, 3 months, okay? Just like in the previous transmission, just like Master Channel, this is the same price. It's 321 paid in full, or 123 per month. 3 months long. And this is also part of the Master Key, which is 888. This is included in the Master Key. This is one of 5 things that's included in the Master Key. So far, what I've mentioned in the Master Key is Master Channel and Journey of Journaling. 3 months long each, not consecutively, okay? We're not doing it like 3 months this and this and the other. It's like 3 months for this, 3 months for that. A little hint about Master Keys: you're spending an entire year with me. There are a total of 4 journeys, 4 3-month-long journeys that the Master Key includes. Master Channel and Journey of Journaling are just 2 of the things. So yeah, if that's something that you would like to do with me, this option is available. As I mentioned in the previous transmission, this is going to be available for a week. Like, the pricing, the offers, they are exclusive to Mystery School. This is not being talked about anywhere else. From pricing to the nature of the offers themselves, this is exclusive. Okay, so Master Channel, Journey of Journaling, same price, same length, $321 paid in full, or $123 per month for 3 months. Or you can get a Master Key that includes both of these and 3 more things that we're going to cover throughout the rest of this experience. So you have time to consider, contemplate, but if it feels like it feels good to make a move, make a decision while you're in the space, while you're in the portal of 888, feel free to do so. Just message me, and we'll set it up. So yeah, you guys, on this note, I'm gonna wrap up. We have another transmission in less than an hour. I know the transmissions are pretty lengthy, but as you can see, the frequency and the transmissions themselves, they require the space and the intensity to fully land. And my gift to you is that you get to keep these. This is why I really needed your emails. So I'll see you in a little less than an hour, and I love you so much. Mwah.